On the 26th of January 1986, the National Resistance Army announced a takeover of government. The new government promised to restore peace, good governance and democracy, but even more urgently committed to transforming the national economy, which had been shattered. To achieve this vision of economic transformation, Dr. Sulaiman Chigundu, who had been a don at Makerere University, was appointed governor. Chigundu's first day in office coincided with the first visit of the International Monetary Fund team to Uganda since NRM's takeover of government. Initially, the NRM government had been opposed to the international domineering of the economy and had preferred to isolate them. However, after nearly a year in government, the reality hit that if indeed their economic recovery vision was to be realized, they needed the international community.
The president was reluctant, but because of the situation, because these were terms, he said, if you want us to help you rebuild the economy, if you want us to do these special programs for you, you have to do this.
They were the biggest lenders for our budget. And of course the economy itself, we could not tax sufficiently to be able to do what you want to do.
First of all, it was more a question of stabilizing a patient who was in a coma. The economy was in a coma and we were attempting to bring it back to life.
With full awareness of the financial crisis Uganda was experiencing, the Bank of Uganda team ably negotiated with the IMF officials areas of concern, including the large budget deficit, which was being financed in ways that accelerated inflation and currency depreciation.
Minister of Defense would need Uganda shillings at a moment's notice. And even the Bank of Uganda would not have, sometimes had problems raising the money they needed. They need the sacks and sacks.
We had very little revenue, so what we did was to print money. We were printing money at every stage.
Making matters worse, even coffee, which was cushioning the economy, had come under threat and was not able to contribute to the economy.
Coffee Marketing Board had borrowed heavily, could not repay banks. So when the time came around Christmas, the banks refused to lend more money to Coffee Marketing Board to buy coffee. What was a coffee problem became a political problem.
To add fire to injury, debtors were on the government's heels demanding pay.
We had to seek technical assistance from the World Bank, IMF, to get us an advisor on external debt management. And we were able to create a new department immediately. It's called EDMO, External Debt Management Office.
With a clear picture of the external debt, which in 1987 stood at $1.4 million, government was able to come up with a strategy to negotiate for cheap loan advancements, discounts, and waiving of some of the debts.
So there was a decision that we should, first of all, carry out a debt audit to understand who our external creditors were, the lenders, and reconcile them.
We offered at that time 12 cents for every dollar for commercial debt. Take it or we shall never pay you. And for the non-commercial debt, we negotiated a concession and grants to finance the debt. Given the goodwill of the new government and the international community, because we had open relations with the IMF and the World Bank, we got support from the parish club. So it was a combination of a number of measures that took place, on which later on culminated in HIPC 1 and HIPC 2, which debt was, mainly the official debt was cancelled.
Finally, the first disbursement of the long-awaited support from the International Monetary Fund was advanced. Bank of Uganda was mandated to oversee and ensure that it was put to good use.
We went through the discussions and we agreed that that money was going to be used for funding raw materials required to produce products which were being used by the common man.
The support had conditions attached that government had agreed to observe. In the economic package agreed upon between the government of Uganda, the World Bank and the IMF, demonetization of the currency to reduce liquidity was a key element.
Obote had already decided on a currency reform, and the details had already been made by the governor and the Bank of Uganda team which were there at that time. So when the new government comes in, it was decided to continue.
In May 1987, the exercise was conducted.
The new currency was going to be introduced by removing 2 zeros. But even with that done, the money supply level was still very high. We came to the idea of even a 30% tax.
The 30% conversion tax from the old to new currency fetched Uganda over 300 billion shillings. The saved money was to help pay 0.7 billion shillings that the currency reform exercise cost the country, clear at least 30% of the outstanding debts that government owed Bank of Uganda from previous overspending, and the balance to help start a development fund. Uganda also had to comply with opening the forex exchange market. The 1964 Foreign Exchange Control Act provided that all foreign currencies brought into the country be surrendered to government within 48 hours. The central bank was put in charge of managing this exercise. Like previous governments, NRM experienced forex management challenges to a point of running out of forex.
One time we had a case of somebody, I won't say who, he had tons of coffee for export, but he had to pack it and he needed packaging materials. So he applied for foreign exchange and the system did not allocate it. Now, I think he wanted about $30,000 to import packing materials to export tea that would earn the country about $300,000. So you can see the problem involved in the control and exchange controls. Sometime in 1990, it was decided that the central bank and government cease setting exchange controls, that people could buy and sell foreign exchange through forex bureaus. And what was enacted, I think, is the Foreign Exchange Bureau Order, which actually liberalized the foreign exchange market.
The country continues to operate under a free forex exchange market arrangement.